friends, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to do something really fun and kind of just different for my channel and relaxing but still bookish related, because I've been very busy, very stressed. I'm filming this video very late, and I just wanted to be comfy cozy. You know, the skincare's on, the shower has been taken, I'm in my comfort sweatshirt and my pajamas, so I just wanted to chit chat with you guys about it. So by the title of this video, you can probably tell today we're going to be fan casting 3 of my favorite books. Now, if you're unfamiliar, fan casting is basically where if you were the casting director for one of your favorite books to be turned into a movie, who you would personally want cast in it. So I have 3 of my favorite books, and let's talk about who I visualize when I'm reading them, and also like who I would want them to be played by in a movie. Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. Now, I could not think of an actress that really fits the way I see Audrey Rose. Now, part of it is because you do see, you know, kind of the bottom half of her face. So I was trying to find somebody that kind of looked like that, and I couldn't figure it out. But I think in a movie, being realistic to the movie industry and kind of the persona of the character, I would see it as Emma Watson, just because of how intelligent she is, and also I think she would be very good in like a witty kind of mystery comedy, mystery romance kind of historical fiction type story. Thomas Cresswell, since I have read it, have always pictured Harry Styles, and I think part of it is because of how he is written. He's supposed to be very tall, this kind of dark swoopy hair, but also just this very like witty, borderline narcissistic personality that seems to kind of match Harry Styles' onstage presence. But yeah, so that is kind of where I see him in the story. I would see him as Thomas Cresswell. Plus, I think him and Emma Watson are friends, so kind of that chemistry is kind of already there to bounce off of each other. Next is Nathaniel. So this would be Audrey Rose's brother, and I personally see it as Andrew Garfield. I think the way he's portrayed as being this very, it's not scary, but kind of scoundrel-esque, and also he's supposed to be very smart but elusive. Like, we know that Andrew Garfield can play bad. I mean, we saw him in like The Eyes of Tammy Faye Baker, like that kind of self-importance. I think he could do really well as Nathaniel, and playing that kind of older brother figure who's more worried about like society than like his sister's actual wants and interests. Sorry, I had to move the camera because the lettering on my sweatshirt is giving off this weird reflective thing, so I was trying to move so I could adjust the exposure and everything and it not look weird. So hopefully this works. But yeah, so the next one is Jonathan, and this is her uncle, who is the forensic pathologist, and the only person I see as him is Maurice from Beauty and the Beast. Not the live action version, the literal cartoon. That is the only person I can think of. I think part of it's because there's a scene where there's like gears and wheels involved, and that's very much something Maurice would have on him. I don't even think her uncle is supposed to be like short and kind of plump like that, but that is how I see him, as just this, you know, the crazy old man who does these things that people don't understand. That's who I see as Maurice from Beauty and the Beast. So, Lord Edmund is supposed to be a suitor for Audrey Rose, and I see it as Luke Evans. I think that he did very well with Gaston, and it's kind of the same idea. He would be blonde in this though, so he would look a little different, but that kind of overly pompous, like, obviously I deserve to be with this woman and I already know what's best for her even though I don't even know her attitude, very much the same as Lord Edmund. So I think he could play that role very well since he did so well at Gaston. Her cousin Eliza To me, I always see Alexandra Daddarow because they talk about how dark her hair is and she has really light eyes. And she's also the cousin who's just kind of fun and like wants to break the rules, but knows she never can because of the way her mother is. I think that she would be really good in that role. I don't know if she can do an English accent, which all of this takes place in like Britain. So she would have to do that. But I think that's who I visually see. Aunt Amelia, I see as Emily Blunt, especially kind of in The Devil Wears Prada when she's telling Andy like how unfashionable she is. Definitely think she would be amazing in that role of being the very snooty kind of aunt who's very concerned about the way society works and the social circles and the tea parties and all of that. In the second book, we meet Josiana, who is Thomas Cresswell's sister. That's Elizabeth Gillies. You cannot tell me different. That is who that is. Just the way she acts, she's like this world traveler. It makes me think of Fallon Carrington, but she's not like mean like that. She's much nicer, but she's very independent, out on her own. I'm gonna travel and be with who I want and do what I want. Society be damned. I think she'd be great in that role. And in the last book, we meet Audrey Rose's grandmother, and I see her as Helen Mirren all the time. That is like the personality I get is Helen Mirren, and just kind of the like stoicness of her. She's like friends with the queen and everything. I think that all kind of goes hand in hand with Helen Mirren. So next book we have is Caraval. This one, it took me a really long time to think of people who could kind of fit the way I see them, because there's so much fan art out there for this book that kind of influenced who I was visualizing, obviously. So for this one, for our main character, Scarlet, I see Alicia Vikander. If you don't know who she is, she was Lara Croft in Tomb Raider, and I'm not familiar with any of her other work. I think she won an Oscar, but I'm not quite sure for what movie. But yeah, Alicia Vikander, I think she would be very good as Scarlet. She has the dark hair, kind of the face that I imagine, and I think she could play the very, like, practical older sister who has a lot of reservations versus the younger sister who's more kind of wild. And for Donatella, the younger sister, I see Dove Cameron or Elle Fanning, like a combination of the two. The more stuff I see about Dove Cameron, the more I see her as Donatella. And because Donatella is just this wild, free spirit who doesn't care what people think, and is just kind of wants to play the game, but wants to have a lot of fun. And I think we've seen Dove Cameron go into those roles, and this would be obviously a more, I mean, it's still young adult, but it'd be more adult in some of the context of the game and stuff, like the complexities of it all. Then we have Julian, and I didn't realize how I picture Julian until I found this guy on TikTok, and it's Trevor Wagner. That is Julian in my head. Like, minus all of Trevor's tattoos, that is the way I see Julian, is like the dark hair that's kind of not put together the way that it would be like for this world. Like, it's kind of just messy and however he wants it, and kind of that attitude of like knowing that he's attractive or that other people find him attractive, but also that kind of like, I'm going to get the girl thing. So that is probably the closest like face structure, hair, all of that I can relate to the way that Julian is described in them. All right, next person is Dante, and I think the person who I think I googled this person is Lewis McGowan, because I'm looking at that name and I don't remember who it is, but that apparently is the person that I picture as. I'll have to look at a picture again because I don't remember who they are. Jax. So this would be obviously in like Legendary and stuff, but just we're speaking as a series here. Jax, again, I see as Harry Styles. Do not come for me. Again, very similar attitude as Thomas Cresswell, but he is a lot more scary, I guess. Jax is the Prince of Hearts or Prince of Broken Hearts or whatever. Like, he's not a good guy, but you kind of end up liking him. He's very much an anti-hero, and I think after seeing Harry Styles in Eternals, that's kind of the same vibe that I get from Jax. Paloma, that would be Scarlett and Donatella's mother. I see it's Jessica Chastain. First of all, love her. Second of all, the way that she is described, I almost would have to think that Stephanie Garber had Jessica Chastain in mind, because it's just this very statuesque woman with this red hair. Like, who else do you think of when you think of that other than like Jessica Rabbit? So that's who I think of. Now, Count Nicholas, he comes up a couple times, and I'm talking about the Count Nicholas in Finale, so the actual one. I would say that is Chris Evans in my brain, just with like the long hair from Infinity War, but not the beard. I think that he would play a good Count Nicholas, because he is kind of this reclusive count who has good intentions. I think, I don't really remember a lot about him, but whenever I read it, I picture Chris Evans, and kind of that character of like someone who's trying to do good, but maybe not doing it in all the right ways. And Marcello, so that is Donatella and Scarlett's evil dad, to me is Ian McShane. And you might not know his name, but you definitely know his face, because he is a great bad guy. And I think him being like this lord who kind of overpowers his daughters with threats and blackmail, I think he's played characters like that before, and I think he would do a really good job in this setting. Like, he is just a really good bad guy. Last book is one that I only have 3 people in mind for, and that is The Room on the Rue. I know I learned how to say this word, but I forgot how to say it again. Here it is. I don't speak French. But the main character I see is an Emilia Clarke. I think, first of all, she's amazing as an actress. But that's just the, like, strong, outspoken woman during a time when it's not cool for women to be doing that. I definitely think she can play that character. And also, I think she's good in dramatic roles. Like, we already know she's very good in those. And this movie would obviously be very dramatic. And this movie would also be really sad. And, I mean, Her and Me Before You is super sad. So, I could definitely see her playing in this part really well. Now, her husband that takes her to France, her French husband, I see as Tom Hiddleston. The way he's described as kind of being this really charming person at first and then being really cold. I'm not saying that's how he is in real life. I'm just saying I think he could play that really well. Finally, for this, I think I finished off with Tom Hiddleston playing the first husband in this book. The last person I see as like the main love interest, like after her husband is killed, is Chris Pine, and I think that is solely because he was in Wonder Woman, and in that he was in the British Special Intelligence, and that's kind of what this guy does, and like he crashes the plane and everything like that. So yeah, I think that's why I see him in there, is because I just see him as Steve Trevor all the time. But yeah, that's it for my fan casting. If you guys have any suggestions for people you see in these particular books, or, you know, fan art or whatever that you're like, that's who I visualize, let me know down below. Let me know if you've ever fan casted a book. I would love to know. And let me know if you want to see me do like a part 2 to this. I would be happy to. I got a lot of books to choose from. So, that is all. I hope you guys are having a productive reading month, unlike me. We'll talk about that later. And I will see you in the next one.